put my beer down. I got up. I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I have half a chance here. The last kick of the game, practically, on goal difference, on goal
and
difference.
The fact that it were United as well.
Against United.
The fact that they were celebrating and they'd finished before us as well.
And our first league win in 40 years, and we'd done it against United with the last kick of the game on goal difference. It's like that's.
We couldn't write it.
Well, that split screen on Sky is one of the best films ever made.
Yeah, it is.
The official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.
Paul, you've worked your magic with your contact book for this one and got us Ricky and Campbell Hatton. So, slightly outside the norm of what we normally do. We normally have people directly connected to football, but obviously we've got two massive City fans coming on. Why did you suggest this, and what do you think ahead of this one?
First and foremost, I've been mates with Ricky for a long, long time, back to the main road days, and he's just got a wonderful, wonderful story to tell. Massive, massive City fan. And Campbell's now massive City fan himself, and and father-son combination, boxing career, future boxing career coming up. I just thought it would be great for the City fans to hear what they're actually like as people, but proper City fans as well.
Yeah, I think our fans, they see Ricky and Campbell as like authentic, proper City fans, don't they? So it's nice to have them on and to get their side of things, and not just about their career, but how they view going to City and what City means to them as people, I suppose.
It is, and Ricky will tell everybody asks him about his boxing career. And ask him how Campbell's getting on, the last Campbell about his career. But all they want to, they're mad City fans, and they want to talk. They go more or less every game that they can come to. They're proper fans, so I think it'll be great for everybody who's listening to the podcast to hear it from them.
And you talked about Ricky's story in particular there. I mean, it's pretty compelling, isn't it? He's had ups and downs, but when I say ups and downs, like massive ups and massive downs. So it'll be interesting to kind of get under the bonnet of that a little bit, won't it?
Well, and look, he's a massive advocate for mental health, and he's an ambassador for it now, and rightly so. He openly talks about the problems that he had, which I think is helpful for everybody else, because you see somebody like Ricky Hatton, one of the best boxers we've ever produced, world champion, hard man, everything about him, people's person, and when he comes out and tells his story, it's so powerful for people to listen to, and full credit to him, and I'm so happy to see him doing so well, because he's a legend.
Do you think sometimes his humility, because he is, there's no doubt about it, incredibly humble, do you think that sometimes people forget what a great boxer he was? I mean, in the documentary that hopefully we'll talk about, there's a film called Hatton, made by an amazing production company. And one of the final thoughts on that film is, people think he had this big following because they saw a piece of themselves in him. But actually, it was because he was a really compelling watch. He was a great boxer. He
was a top boxer. You don't win the world titles he didn't defend on. The boxers that he would openly say himself, the Costas Zoo fight when he won the title was one of the best nights of his life. But then he didn't shirk anybody either. Floyd Mayweather, Manny, Pacquaio, they're
the best of the best
of the top.
Yeah,
and he took them on toe to toe. And he's just super humble. But it wasn't just people think Man City, Ricky Hatton, all his fan base are Man City fans. He boxed for Manchester, and slowly but surely for England, and then the whole of UK came together, and I don't think I've ever seen a boxing following like the one he got, and that's because he is such a humble guy.
Let's do this. So here we go, the official Man City podcast with Ricky and Campbell Hatton. Ricky, Campbell, thank you very much for joining us on the official Man City podcast. Let's start with a bit of City chat. So I want to start with you actually, Campbell. Last time I saw you, you were in Mary D's with a pie and chips in one hand and a pint in the other. So you're obviously like a proper match-going City fan who goes to Mary D's after the games.
News to me.
This was a while ago, to be fair. This was a while ago, not in trading mode. So
I wonder who it takes after.
I'd say that's me at my happiest. Yeah, it's got to be. But yeah, no, love it. Like I say, there's between fights you need a little blowout where you obviously you go in weeks where you're on a diet and you're putting yourself through hell, so you need something at the end of it to look forward to and blow a bit of steam. And
He's not like me. He's not like me though.
Don't half let off some steam.
How did you get into City? Is it through your dad's influence, or?
I can't remember a time where I've not been going City, really. Like, there's a picture of me where I must be about 6 months old at Main Road. So like it's just what I've always done. But I think with my dad and my granddad and my uncle Jed, I was always going to be a die-hard Blue.
Yeah, I had him on the pitch a couple of times when I was world champion. Yeah. And the Etihad as well, yeah, when he was that big, yeah. Good memories.
And how did you and Ricky meet then? Quite intrigued by that.
Just through the Main Road days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Ricky used to come down to Platt Lane sometimes, and
sometimes go to Platt Lane, sometimes go to the match, and sometimes I come down to the training ground and meet the players and that, and then we bumped into each other a couple of times in the pub. Yeah. Well, he bumped into me more like, but no.
just a couple of times.
Yeah. It was back in the day. I mean, you can't get near the players then, but now, beg your pardon, you can't get near the players now, really, can you? No. But I mean, back then it was a little bit more, and Paul was like one of my heroes growing up, to be honest. I'm not joking. And when you see that era, that's the era I was watching. Do you know what I mean? When I was well. Like with Campbell is now, it was we didn't do too good, did we, mate? But great times at Main Road, and that was brilliant. Loved it. Kipacks on the Kipacks and stuff like that. Brilliant times.
Do you miss Main Road?
It was brilliant for me as well, because I was a big boxing fan, and obviously being able to go and watch Ricky train a few times, he was a City fan, and going to the fights and everything else, and we just kept in touch on and off ever since.
Mate. Yeah.
Brilliant. Do you miss it, Main Road? Because it's iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, when it was in I've had season tickets all over the place. I had one in the North Stand, I had one in the Umbro Stand, it was at the time, and then the Kipacks, obviously. I used to love the Kipacks. When it was freezing, you could have a little bit of a move about, couldn't you, and stuff like that. But you've got to move with the times, haven't you, to be honest with you? There's not much, money that come into the game and stuff now. You need the carpet, you need the lounges, don't you, and stuff like that. But I think, back in the day, when you say about Campbell had a pint and a pie, that's all you got at football back in the days, wasn't it? You know what I mean? But how it's come on since then. But yeah, I do miss Main Road. It was a great atmosphere, nice, lovely little tight grounds, like they all were back then. But you got to move with the times, haven't you?
So do you remember Main Road? Are you old? I mean, I know you were there, but do you have memories of it?
No, I can't remember any of Main Road. But like I say, I've been coming to the Etihad all my life, and I will be doing till the day I die. Love it.
Tell us about your training at the minute, then, because you've got a fight coming up. Tell us what the fight is, who you're against, and what your training's like at the moment.
So yeah, I've got my first title fight in Sheffield on the 23rd of March for the Central Area title, and it's a nice one because it's the first title both my dad and Matthew boxed for. So it'd be good to be the third member of the family to pick it up, and we're just coming to the end of the camp now, so I think it's 2 weeks tomorrow. So we'll just get into the last hard couple of weeks where it's a bit of hell, really. But just really excited. Everything's gone bang on, and we're going to see the best of me, because I know we're getting to that level now where the fights are like there's jeopardy in them, and I've done my apprenticeship, and obviously I'm still learning all the time, but like the learning fights have come to the end now. I'm in the proper like, I don't see it as a 50-50 fight, but it's like that's what they are. The like the fights where you can't afford to be anything other than your best.
Yeah, well, that brings out the best. I mean, look at the City team. We play our best football when we're playing against the best teams, don't we? That's when City bring out their best, and I'm presuming in boxing it's a similar thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to raise your game, innit? You know what I mean? You have your 4 rounders, your 6 rounders, and you fight your journeyman type opponents. Where they're brought in, and not necessarily sometimes to beat you. Just to teach you. You know what I mean? But then once you get to that certain stage, he's had about 12 fights now where he's done his 4 rounders, 6 rounders, 8 rounders. He's fought this type of style, that type of style. Now is the time, to step up and see what he's got when he slips a gear, And I think he'll be better, because when you fight the journeymans, type opponents, they don't necessarily come to win. You know, so sometimes it's harder to look good against. You know, when you know, it's like when if you know when it's like when a team sit back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and get the 10 men behind the ball. You know, sometimes it's hard to break him down and that. When you fight a journeyman and they're not trying to win, it's hard to give it up because they're not giving up. When somebody wants to come and beat you, they make more mistakes and they leave more openings, and that's what I think he'll do for, you know, for Campbell. I think he'll shine. The better the opponent he'll be, I think it will bring the best out of him.
Must be special for you and Matthew, knowing it's the same belt that you won all
Well,
those years
it's like,
ago.
you know, Matthew won the central area, and it's funny. I mean, he looks like me, talks like me, but he's fighting for the same title I first won. In fact, it's the same weight, the central area light welterweight title. I won it in my 10th fight. He won it in his 12th. He's going to hopefully win it in his 12th fight.
15th.
So, yeah, yeah. So you know, it's just another thing. You know, sort of like a chip off the old block. He's fighting for my first title. The only difference is I won it 26 years ago.
Yeah, it's a great story, wasn't it?
It is a great story. How proud are you of you know what he's done?
Couldn't be prouder. I mean, he's done all this off his own back. You know, he got into boxing off his own back. He must have, you know, once he got to a certain age and realised, oh, your dad was a boxer, or my dad was a boxer. He must have watched fights on the YouTube and then started watching other fights and getting more and more into boxing. And then the first day he walked through the gym door. Can I have a go, Dad? Can I have a go? I thought, oh, God, here we go. You know what I mean? But it's... Yeah, and you know, he did it off his own back. You know what I mean? I didn't want him to go professional. You know, I did everything I did, you know, so he didn't have to. Yeah. He done it off his own back.
I was just going to ask you that. Is it something that deep down you wanted him to do, or you definitely...
I didn't want him to do it, no, to be honest. Because he didn't need to do it, to be honest, did he? You know what I mean? I worked so hard, you know, that, you know, he could have gone down another route, an easier route, to be feel like. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to have the name,
carrying the name, yeah.
You know, with what I did, you know, and I'm Matthew for that matter, you know, to have the pressure on his shoulders, but he's still giving it a go, and I think deserves a pat on the back for it. You know, a few people will say, oh, you know, your dad, you know, there's a few doors being opened for him. Well, he's fighting for the same title I fought with similar number of fights. You know what I mean?
It's jealousy.
And so yeah, so you know, sooner or later, you know, he'll prove it. You know what I mean? And this is the first step in that direction for him. Yeah.
Same question to you. How proud are you of your dad's career? You know, you've probably gone back and studied it and know all about it. How does it make you feel?
Yeah, like, again, similar answer. I couldn't be prouder. It's one of my biggest inspirations and motivations myself, because, like, obviously, coming from, like, the same family, and, like, I'm so similar to my dad. If he's gone there and he's been there and done it, why can't I? So it's big inspiration, and like you said there, the pressure, because as I've in my career, I've had doors open for me by my dad being who he is, which, like, I can't deny. But I've also had to put up with a lot of stick as well, because I think there's the expectation, and people have the memory of my dad at his height, and they expect you to be like that straight away, and it's not the case. So, like, you get the criticism early on where people are expecting you to just be the finished article straight away, and like I say, I'm learning. This is the first step for me, hopefully breaking away from my dad's shadow, or starting to, at least. Obviously, a long way to go yet, but like, just gives me a lot of confidence that I can get there myself.
So this is a big 2 weeks for you coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's early on in my career, but it's already a must-win fight. Because my expectations and where I want, my ambitions are a lot higher than the central area title. I'll be really proud to pick it up along the way, but like, it's the first step of hopefully many. So I dead excited, but it's a massive few weeks.
Well, we're all right behind
Absolutely.
you. We'll be watching. There's a film currently on Sky Documentaries called Hatton. It's made by Gabriel Clark's production company. I think they've done a really good job telling that story. How did that opportunity come about? What was your initial reaction when they reached out, and what do you think of the process and the final version?
Yeah, well, I was approached, you know, for them to to do the documentary, and there was loads of great ones. One there was on lately. There was one on Brian Robson. There was one on Gaza. There was one on Rooney. There was one on. You know, I mean, they do a fantastic job. So when they approached to do one on me, I was delighted. You know what I mean? And my life has been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it? You know, it went from great times to bad times to present day to great times again. You know, you could. It was more like a film than a documentary, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Seeing the good times and there were some great times. You know, the fights in Vegas and boxing at the Etihad Stadium. Yeah, you know, that was a dream. I dreamt at first of fighting at Main Road. Never got the chance, but I ended up getting the chance at the Etihad and fighting the people that I did, and you know, like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquaio. You know, 40,000 fans went to Las Vegas to watch the Floyd Mayweather fight. It's like, it's unheard of, you know. Noel and Liam carrying me belts in for the Malignaggi fight. So many good times, but I struggled bad with retirement. Do you know what I mean? But something I've done all my life since I was you know, since I left school. You just, apart from fitting a few dodgy carpets for my dad, you know, I just boxing. That's all I've ever done. And then when I got beat by Manny Pacquiao, and I knew, right, that's you done now. There's no more boxing. You past it now. And then, you know, and then there's loads of things in my personal life at the same time came along. I fell out with Billy Graham, I fell out with my mum and dad, you know, and my relationship had split up, and then I got destroyed by Pacquiao, and then I knew I had to retire, all in a little close, and my life went terrible, and it was a bit of a tearjerker, to be honest with you. All my mates went to the premiere. All my mates were, hey, at first, you know, taking the mickey, and then the silent, you know, and then when it finished after, they all had a tail in their eye and everything like that. But it's been a roller coaster. But I mean, good times, bad times. But now I'm having the best times. I mean, if I hadn't gone the way I want, you know, I was very suicidal. And that, look what I missed out. I missed out on seeing the lad go professional, lovely little granddaughter now, Lila. See Millie and Fern growing up into the lovely ladies of the art. Look at what I missed out on, you know. So it's and it tells it so well.
Was that a big thing about you doing? Because you're big on the mental health side of things now. Was that a motivation behind it to get it out there for people to try and learn from it?
That's what I do. I'm a professional boxing trainer now, isn't it? You know, so I'm trying to bring the next ones through that will hopefully make the country as proud as I'd like to think I did. But I also an ambassador for mental health, because I mean, if I had gone down the other road, you know, and you know, look what I'd missed out for. And there is people out there that are in the same boat as I was. Do you know what I mean? Nobody knew about it. I don't think even me closest, you know, my partner who I was living with at the time, and I was training fighters as well. I just started becoming a boxing coach, and like, you know, my family in general, I don't think they knew how bad it was, because I kept it to myself. When I went in public, I was like, hey, you know, crack a joke, tell a laugh. But then when I'd be at home, I'd be crying and suicidal, you know, and it was horrible, because as a man, you don't want to feel like you can go to your missus and go, listen, love, I'm crying every day, I want to kill myself, you know. You can't walk in the vault, can you? And go, hey, lads, can I share this with you? So you keep it in, and I don't think my family knew. And I think when that documentary come out, I think everyone went, whoa, we didn't realise it was. But if it helps people, you know, it was a winner in that area as well.
I think it 100% will. I mean, there's an amazing scene where you're addressing a room full of men, and you make the point, if anybody's feeling like this, talk to somebody, and the whole room gets up, and that's a powerful.
Well, back in the day when I had it, you know, if you turn around and it said mental health, everyone thinks you flip your lid. You know what I mean? They think you're crackers. But thankfully, more and more people are doing it, because Tyson Fury's done it. You know, and I've done it. Frank Bruno's done it. I'm an ambassador for the Frank Bruno Foundation as well. So the more and more people do it, they're not, you know, if one person listens to this podcast and goes away and says, you know what, I'm going to go and speak to someone, you can't do it on your own. You think you can, you sit, but what you do, you think you can do it on your own, so what you do, you sat there moping, sat there feeling sorry for yourself. And, you know, the only way you're going to do is get up your backside and share it with someone, you know what I mean? You can't share it to your family and your mates and your close ones. Well, share it with a stranger. You'll feel better. Get off your chair. You can speak to a stranger, don't you? Well, you can't. You don't want to tell anyone else.
Have you learned lessons, do you think, from your dad's journey, and from that film in particular? You know, the stuff he explored in there about the struggles he's had. Is there things you can learn, do you think, about your life and career?
Yeah, definitely, because like, he's been through a lot in and out the ring, where I can ask for advice on both, and like being in boxing myself, you are like, fighters sort of feel like they've got to be tough all the time, and not just fighters, just I think men in general feel like they have to put on a bit of a front and acts like everything's fine, nothing bothers them, and that's what eats away at people. So when you hear people like my dad and Tyson Fury, like you said, Frank Bruno, who come out and spoke about it, who are these people who that people consider as like hard blokes, if they can start talking about the feelings and things like that, anyone can, can't they? So no, like, learn loads from him, like inside and outside of boxing.
Yeah, powerful. I mean, what about football's similar as well, isn't it? You
Yeah.
must have felt back in your day what Ricky's just
Exactly
explained
the
there.
same thing.
It
It's
is,
hard
yeah.
to retire something you've done all your life.
And you've got
Yeah.
this front that you put onto everybody else as well, you know, and thankfully there's stuff Ricky's doing and a lot of people have done, and it's putting it out there, and it's getting
When you
people
used
and it's
to walk
helping
out,
people.
you know, in front of that main road, you know, and you hear the crowd roar coming out of that tunnel and that, you know, and then when all of a sudden, you know, you got to retire, you're never going to get that feeling again. Because the most nervous thing for me was leaving the changing room to make me ring walk to the ring. And every time I did it, I used to think, what am I doing this for? It's the worst part. But then when it's gone, that fire in the belly, that adrenaline rush, that nervousness, that's the one thing you miss. And it'd been the same for you, Paul, walking out through the tunnel, isn't it? You know, you hear the crowd roar, and as you get nearer, it gets louder and louder and louder.
Yeah.
Once you've had that, you know, all your life, and it's gone. Some people can retire happy, and some people it puts their head away.
Exactly.
It certainly put my head away.
I was super fortunate that when I finished playing, I had the season as player manager at Oldham.
So it kind of bridged you into...
Then obviously went to Doncaster, so I was still involved in it day to day, even though I'd retired. I was super lucky. But when I got sacked at Donny, it affected me. But yet again, I was lucky that the club then came to me and said, we're going to start doing ambassadorial stuff. So the club was getting bigger and bigger, so I was still getting my football fix. But that little spell from when I get sacked. But one is, I don't know if it's probably the same, get beat off Pacquaio, it's your ego as well. You know, I've just been sacked. I'm thinking, you can't.
Yeah.
And you want to prove people wrong because you've had to do that all the time. And but then saying, look, just super fortunate that I was being able to have my football fix all the way through. And a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
Another thing you had to cope with was you went from kind of famous to super famous very quickly after the Costa Zoo fight. I think your coach, Billy Graham, described it as the lunatics had taken over the asylum. I remember Noel saying when Oasis got really big, suddenly there was just men with leather man bags surrounding them. But how can somebody cope with going from being kind of semi-famous to super famous very quickly? Because it's a lot to cope with that, isn't it?
I think it's the way I was brought up. To be honest, you know, my mum and dad, you know, brought me up right. You know, and I always had good friends around me. The friends that I have are the friends that I went to school with. No outsiders, if you like. You know, over the last couple of years, you know, that a couple of mates have come on board. So always been the same group, the same mates. And, you know, if I ever got too big for my boots, or you know, too big, just like Campbell is, my mates would tell me. You know what I mean? They wouldn't want to know me. I mean, mum and dad brought me up the correct way. So I've always been that way. I mean, when I got to, like, you know, I still do the same things. I know life has changed a lot for Ricky Hatton because I've done so much. Still do the same things. I go to the same pubs for the pint with my mate. Go to the match on Saturdays, or you know, whenever. And I think that's why the fan base I had was so massive, because I had an exciting boxing style, didn't I? I was a very attacking, I was a body puncher, I was aggressive and everything like that, but I was just one of the boys, I was just one of the lads, you know. People in the stands could relate to me. Saw Ricky Hatton in town the other week, saw Ricky Hatton at the darts, saw Ricky Hatton at the match, you know what I mean? It's, you don't see me on a red carpet, you know, anywhere or anything like that. It's just never been my thing, and the fans could see me as one of them. And the fans have no doubt, whether it's Manchester or the City fans, they'll get behind him because he's like myself. He's one of us.
I think that's one of the most impressive things about the fan base that you're super modest about. Is it wasn't your following wasn't Man City fans, it was Manchester. You brought
Manchester
that together.
in general, you know, City, United, to be honest, all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest with you, when I first started off fighting in Manchester at the Manchester Arena, at first it was Manchester, and then I won the WBU British title, then I won the WBU title, and then nation over the country started becoming fans. You know, people from London and Liverpool and Birmingham and Scotland and Wales and were all coming up and that. And then by the time it got to, you know, to Las Vegas, you know, and stuff like that, they were coming from everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It was such, and I've got so many good, you know, the Costa win and fighting Mayweather and Pacquaio and that. But the fan base was my greatest achievement.
Yeah,
because it was just so much bigger than, you know. I mean, you know, Frank Bruno's my hero, still my hero, and Nigel Benn and people like that. You know, they'll always be my heroes, and if for my crowds to be bigger than my heroes, I'll never be able to get over that one. That's a right scratchy head one for me.
It's not normal in boxing, that size and
No.
fervent following, is it? And it was like 10,000 people at a weigh-in in Vegas and things like. What do you?
10,000 people think he's not going to make this.
Yeah, I know.
He's not going to do this.
Yeah, I don't know, obviously Vegas and everything else, but one of the best sporting events for an atmosphere I've ever been at was, I've said this to you before, was the Costa night. That was special. It was electric, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he was the best. He was the number one in the division. He wasn't just a world champion. He was because he's like 4 or 5 world titles now in each weight division. He was the best of all of them, to be honest. I think he was number 2 pound for pound. Everyone expected me to get a kick in, but it was in Manchester, my hometown, and even me you could feel the nervousness in the air when everyone was behind you. But I think everyone was thinking, listen, we're behind Ricky here 100%, but don't fancy the chance. And when I come out, the noise of the crowd. I mean, I've boxed in front of bigger crowds, you know, when you think of the Etihad and that, but the noise of that night,
was
that
unbelievable.
fight, and I was in the ring,
Just goosebumps there thinking.
and I could. The noise was that loud. I couldn't hear the ring announcer who was on the mic, and the canvas was bouncing with, you know, from the noise. I've never done that in any of my fights. What I'm doing, I thought, and that don't help your nerves neither. But it was, and then for a champion so formidable, to quit on his stool. That was my greatest win, and to see, after all these good times we talk about, to see this little fella coming through and wanting to do the same, it doesn't need me to tell you how proud I am.
Are you nervous when you watch Campbell?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Hate it. It's horrible. Yeah.
So you know how your mum and dad felt when they were watching you.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah. You know, who wants to see? You know, it's worked for some people. You know, I mean, Joe Kawasaki and Enzo Kawasaki. I mean, I don't train Campbell. Matthew trains Campbell, and I manage him, which works out lovely. I still have some input into his training and stuff like this. But yeah,
was that a conscious thing from you about
I think
having Matthew to train him?
I think it was just the best. It was just the best all round, the best one for everyone. To be honest, Matthew's an exceptional coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what Matthew did in the sport.
Top fighter
never
as well.
mind what I did. You know what I mean? But I think it's worked out for the best. I think it worked for Enzo and Joe Kawasaki, didn't it? And Richie and Len Woodall and like that. I don't know whether it would work for me. Only going off what I feel like when I'm at ringside. That's bad enough. You know what I mean? So he gets input. You know, to have me and Matthew passing the input, and from what area it comes from, it doesn't matter. I mean, to be honest with you, great position for him to be in, and he gives me and Matthew back the exact same in how hard he works.
So do you feel like you're improving at the rate you want to be?
Yeah, definitely. I like with every especially the last 12, 18 months, every fight I've got consistently better each time, and that's the way it should be at like this stage of my career. So yeah, it's been going pretty perfectly, to be honest, because early on I've had a few speed bumps on the way where I've underperformed in some early fights, and I'm glad I did, because I think that's why I'm improving so consistently now, because it's just like early on I think I struggled with the pressure, the spotlight and everything around turning pro with the Hatton name and everything like that, and I think it took a few of them performances where I was struggling with it. Like we went away after I boxed at Tottenham in my 4th fight in front of, I think when I boxed there was about 55,000 in there, and like it's unheard of, and it was just a little bit too much. So then we took it away to Bilbao after that, like where it's not even like Spain's not a massive boxing country anyway, but Bilbao, no one was interested. Like the Hatton name over there probably meant nothing to them. Like they just had one fighter who they all got behind, so there was no pressure on me at all. And I went there and I got a second round knockout, and I just showed myself how I can perform when I take that pressure off myself. And since then, every fight's been improving all the time, and I'm like a completely different fighter. So I think them learning experiences early on have made me what I am now, and like I'm completely different. And I'm still only 23, so I've got bags of time. And if the next few years go like the last couple, I'll be buzzing.
Yeah, he only had like 20 odd amateur fights. I had 75.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 20 odd amateur fights. And when he went pro, because of the name, if you like, he'd never been interviewed before. Never had a camera shoved in his face or a microphone under his chin and Good Morning Britain and and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think it was a great learning experience for him. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't change it for the world, because he come through it. But there's like you say, the best way he described it well. A few speed bumps along the way. These speed bumps are what you learn from. But I think looking back, it was tough for him. Do you know what I mean? It was, what he was explaining was, he went on one of them small hall shows in Bilbao where no one knew him, and he went on a few shows like that where he could warm into, and now I think you've got used to it. But you can imagine making your pro debut after only 25 amateur fights or something like that. Then all of a sudden you're on this morning breakfast shows and this and this and this. No wonder he struggled early doors.
My pro debut was on Sky Box Office. And it just doesn't happen. No. And at the time, I thought like I didn't think it bothered me, but it took going to Bilbao away from all the eyes and everything like that for me to like really see the difference. And then we've come back to big shows, but I've kept that same mentality where I've just thought, as long as I've trained my absolute hardest and prepared to the best of my ability, like what will be, and I've just took the pressure right off myself, even on the big shows again. And the old habits haven't crept back in. I've been, been getting better. I had like four stoppages in 5 or 6 fights since then, and like I say, it's just that change in mentality. But I had to go through it to see the difference. I think if I hadn't have gone through it, I might not have improved as much as I have now. So I wouldn't change anything. As tough as it was early on, with some of the criticism, I'm glad I went through it.
Yeah, sometimes they stick the boot in, but they don't see the bigger picture, do they? Like we just explained it there, but shoulders are broad enough. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he'll have to prove whether he can fight or not. And that's just not just for him; it's for all of us. At the end of the day, isn't it? We'll soon find out. And where he is at the minute, he's heading in the right direction.
Just to draw some parallels with football there, Pep always says he learns more about his players and his team during the difficult times. It's easy when it's all going well. It's when you have a bump in the road or whatever, you learn about yourself, and then you're better after that. Are there any other parallels? Because somebody who's followed Ricky's career, you follow boxing, obviously you're a professional footballer yourself. Any parallels between boxing and football that you could draw?
I think it's bang on, and Campbell explained it brilliant there. You need the mistakes, you need these bumps in the road sometimes, because to prepare you for when it happens again and make you better and learn from it. Because if everything's all plain sailing, and then you get a knock, it can send you the other way. So I think the earlier you can get exposed to making mistakes.
I know
things
people,
happening.
there's some boxers there that have, had they've gone to 17, 18 fights unbeaten, but they've fought like a load of, road sweepers, type thing. And then all of a sudden, when you get used to fighting at that level, then you get stepped up. Do you know what I mean? And you go, oh, wow, shocked to your system with that. The majority of he's fought a few journeymen along the way, because that's what you do at the stage where he's at. But I tell you what, the high majority of his opponents have had winning records, not losing records, like the journeyman. You know what I mean? They've been, a lot of the fighters have had winning records. You know what I mean? So we're not mollycoddled him. Do you know what I mean? He's, you know, and
Test
I
him.
think that's the way you've got to do. You know, rather than, because it gives you a bit of a false reading if you're fighting there all the time, innit?
Mm. So, what are your memories of those times watching? I mean, you've spoken a little bit about that one fight there, but just that general exhilaration and excitement that was around at that time.
It was everywhere. It was like Hatton mania, wasn't it, at the time? You know, and the fans, and I was fortunate to go and watch him train a few times, and that really was a bit of an eye opener for me, because you think you know what other sportsmen do, and especially boxers, but when you see the punishment that they put themselves through in the training's harder than the fights, isn't it?
Absolutely,
They put themselves
it's,
through.
you know, the dieting and, you know, and all, you know, it's the hardest game in the world, and that's, you know, like Campbell explained it brilliant there before. Yeah, he said, you know, I might have had a few doors open for me at the end of the day, but, you know, I think he's got an harder job.
Yeah.
What he's got to live up to, you know what I mean? And you know, you always get the odd person that will stick the boot in, and, you know, I don't think they miss the bigger picture. You know, to go into, you know, to the hardest game in the world, which is tough anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to say, you know, fair play to the lad, you know, and at the end of the day, it'll prove whether you can fight or not, and he can.
Watching City, do you do that together? Is that something you've done together down the years, or?
No, he's a little bit younger than me. He likes to go in the south stand and jump
Right,
about
yeah.
and everything like that. I'd rather, I like that heated still.
Yeah. Oh, them
older.
heated seats. I get that like once or twice a year. What a difference that makes. Yeah. So is it? So what do you get out of it watching City? Is it just?
You go to the away games a lot, don't you, son?
Yeah, there's no cucumber butties there. But no, I love it. I love the day out and everything. I've obviously watched City from being a baby, but like in camp, obviously now I'm like knocking the games on the head until after the fight, just because I need to be at home with my feet up and resting. But I think in my camp, it's good for me to be about. It takes your mind off things, because you can overthink the fights, and you can. I think sometimes in your downtime, it does need to be like your time away from the boxing gym does need to be away from boxing sometimes, and like you just go there, relax, have a laugh with my mates, and well, it's not too much relaxing most of the time with City, is there? But no, I love it. It's like I love it. And then after the fights, it's good things to look forward to. Like after one of my last fight, I went to watch City away at Young Boys, so it's just something like keeps you going while you let's say putting yourself through hell in the gym. You know, at the end of it, you go, oh, I can have a pie and a pint, you know, at the end of this.
Brilliant. And
Ricky,
Ricky,
they've no idea, has he, Paul?
No.
You know, back when I remember when Paul was playing, me and my mates used to, you know, get up, you know, we get a pound day saver, we get the bus from Attersley to Hyde, then from Hyde to Bellevue, Bellevue Dogs, then I think we get the 54, I think it was, or something like that, to the Curry Mile, and we walk down to Main Road, it'd be chucking it down in rain, soaking wet. We'd get beat 2-1 by Grimsby, and then you go back to the Cuddy Mile, get the track, and you get back in at half 8. You know what I mean? And it's like, I sit there sometimes watching City now, as I'm sure you do, mate. Is the football, the quality we're watching, and the players on hand. You know, compared to, you know, how bad it was back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, that we talked about Main Road back in the time, still loved it. Great times, some of the happiest times of my life, you know, watching City. But even back then, you know, the fans still turned out. But I mean, to what we're seeing today and where we're sat today, innit? You know, I just said to you guys, didn't I? You know, the training facilities they've got here, it blows your mind what they're doing with the club.
Yeah, it's
I'm not having it here. We're getting in at 8:30.
In the morning it was.
Yeah, I was getting to the pub for 8:30.
Yeah.
What do you think made the fans come back in them days? Because you're right, the football was low quality, and we often used to get beat and all that kind of stuff. But everyone turned up week in, week out.
It's always been a family club. And to be honest with you, I mean, even though, you know, we come into the money and you know, and everything like that, they've not let, you know, look, Paul doing the ambassador stuff, and Paul's one of many, you know, that, you know, all the players love, you know, being in and around the club and helping the club. They've come in and they've done what I've just mentioned, you know, the training facilities, the ground, the team, you know, and everything like that. But they've still kept it. They've still kept the club's feet on the ground. They've still kept that family feel to it. It's always like that, and there was always that at Main Road. And normally when sometimes, you know, a few quid comes in, sometimes you can lose that, can't you, Paul? But we've not lost it. Still the big, massive family club it is.
I say that all the time, and stick up for the owners, because Ricky's hit the nail on the head there. It would have been so easy, and we've seen other clubs, new owners come in and they just get rid of everybody, and they want to do their own thing. But the chairman, the owners, and everybody else, they've kept the heart and soul of the club here,
absolutely,
all the time, and they realise the importance of the fans. Going back to that time when I was playing, it seemed the worse we got, the more support we got from the fans.
It became a badge of honour,
and it ended up it would drag us through so many games in the end, and that's people always talk about that Gillingham season, but this second half of the season, the fans were unbelievable, and they dragged us over the line to get in there.
Honest, kicking everyone 10 foot in the
I know.
He's a nasty little one. Back in the day.
What's the best City game, or your favourite City game that you've ever been to?
Oh, it's QPR, definitely. Without a doubt. I don't think that moment will ever get topped, to be honest. But like I say, the Villa one weren't far off.
No, not at all.
With Gundo, so like I say, you can't see them getting beat, but we seem to keep throwing similar days in the mix, don't we? So who wants to win? Like just after Christmas time, who wants to win the league like that? I'd rather it be on the last day and we've come back from behind.
It was only ever going to be one way, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that day.
Absolutely.
We're only going to do it one way, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
You are right though that at the time it's stressful, but it makes for far better memories, doesn't it? You think of Villa, the QPR game, obviously, and all the other times City have pushed it close like that. It makes it more. It has more impact.
That's how City do things.
That's how City do things.
Even when we've been like our absolute best, still like to make hard work of it somewhere and have you sweating for a bit.
What about you? Same question to you, Ricky. What's the best game
the
you've been to?
Aguero game, the QPR game. It was funny because I spat my dummy out. To be honest with you, we were like, what, we're behind, aren't we? And I thought it's over. I think there's about five minutes left or whatever. It's over. So I went and was in a box actually for this one behind the goal. I went in and got a beer out the fridge, sat there soaking, and the next minute Deco scored, didn't he? He ran got the ball, ran to the halfway line, and next minute then the QPR fans started going, "Hooray!" because they were safe. You know what I mean? And then it come up. I think it was 5 minutes, wasn't it? Something like that, because Joey Barton had got sent off. It come up 5 minutes, so I'm thinking, I put my beer down. I got up. I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I have half a chance here, and. The last kick of the game, practically, on goal difference. On goal difference.
The fact that it were United as well.
Against United.
The fact that they were celebrating and they'd finished before us as well.
And our first league win in 40 years, and we'd done it against United with the last kick of the game on goal difference. It's like that's.
We couldn't write it.
Well, if a split screen on Sky is one of the best things ever made.
Yeah, it is. But if you wrote that script that you've just described there, it would be laughed at. And it actually happened.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg couldn't write it as good as that could. It was something else. Yeah.
What about you? Best game?
I think Aguero games.
If you can't have the Aguero game, what would you have? Give us a different one. Best one you're involved in then? How about that?
The best one as a fan or as a player?
As a player.
It's got to be the Gillingham game.
Yeah.
Or the last.
And that was the start of us coming back, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was crazy. The build up to it, and people forget the playoff semi-final was about 3 weeks before the actual final. So that wait and the build up, and then we used to train at Main Road because the training ground was getting refurbed, whatever else. And the day the tickets went on sale, and we've turned up for training at 8:30 in the morning, and it's 10 deep all the way around Main Road for people getting tickets.
And in that 3 weeks, United won their treble as well.
That was the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then just getting to Wembley, just the whole thing, being 2-0 down and thinking, oh my God, we've got another season in this division, and then Kevin scoring.
No matter how far back we go, we always do it. City. Whether it's Aguero, whether it's Gillingham yourself, oh my, never, be boring, wouldn't it, being supporting anyone else?
It would. What about the Ewood Park the year later? How close is that to Gillingham for you?
It's super close.
Was that the 4-3?
It ended up 4-1. We should have been 4-0 down at half time. We get absolutely battered.
Yeah.
In that game. And that was special for its own reason, I'll never forget still like 4 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, and the City
Joe
fans
Royal
are doing.
manager, wasn't he?
Yeah, Joe, the gaffer.
Yeah.
City fans are doing the conga around the pitch. Do you know what I mean? It was like I wanted to go and join them and start doing it with them. But that was special because we felt as players, and I know at the time maybe the fans didn't realise that, but we did feel responsible for where the club was and the stick it was getting. So for us, and that Joe didn't make much changes to the back-to-back promotions. You know, Mark Kennedy came in, just a couple of other players, but for that group to be able to take us from Division 2
so highly thought of that
back
group.
to back Premier League.
So you know what I mean, to take us from,
Yeah.
and it's hard to come from the second to the first to the you know, the tough leagues to come out of that. You know, and the way we were playing, but when we went down, you know, we thought, are we consistent enough to go dink, dink, and I tell you what, we did straight back up, didn't we, in 2 seasons, mate? Yeah.
And that second season, we were just from the Wembley game, we were just in the crest of a wave. The momentum we got from that day and everything else, just that's the one thing that took us through that season.
So, what do you think of this season? How are we looking, and do you think we can win the league again? Because if we do win the league, we'll be the first team in English history to win it 4 on the bounce. So there's a lot riding on it.
Do you know what? People are going to be shocked by this, but I think we'll do the treble, me. And it's not.
I'm not.
And even though we're not playing, we're not as good as last year, so far at least, anyway. But I just think we're just going to grind them out. So I think we'll grind out a league, but I think we're just going to grind out the Champions League and the FA Cup as well. I think we're going to do it without playing very well all year. I don't think we're going to like the Real Madrid game where like the football was just unreal, and we did the same to Bayern Munich. And I think we're just going to be grinding stuff out, and but I do think we'll come away with all 3.
Yeah, we're winning some games. You know, we're winning when we're not. You know, well, United did it for years, didn't they? You know, winning when they're not really at the best. I think that's the bit of the season we're having. But
they say it's a sign of champions doing that, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Like that Bournemouth win the other week, like where you're just not playing, but we're still getting these results, and I think we're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, and I mean it's frightening to think, you know, if we're not playing great at the minute and we're still there in it, you know, with FA Cup, Champions League, Premiership, and we, you know. And I think the last few seasons when we've done it, I think post Christmas, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've put our foot down and we've left people for dead, haven't we? And we've not quite put our foot down yet, have we? We're winning, and you know, but I mean, sometimes I think we've been spoilt, Paul.
Yeah,
football's been that breathtaking sometimes.
It's been unbelievable.
Certainly after Christmas, where you know, when everyone else is, you know, just.
I still think that's to come.
I do, yeah.
Is there a player in the current squad you particularly like? Is there one that you?
Got to be Foden at the minute.
Yeah,
he's on fire.
He's quality, isn't he?
Yeah.
How good can he be, Paul?
I think he can. I think was it Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager, came out and said that a Ballon d'Or winner. I don't see any reason why not. He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
And people are saying
seems
that
like he's been around forever, doesn't
it
he?
does.
But all the stuff he's won already.
Yeah.
And people are saying that he's only just came to the fore now. He's been doing this for the last couple of years, but because we've had a De Bruyne, because we've had a Haaland and everything else, he's not really got the credit.
For him to stand out as he's standing out and the team that he's in, with who you just mentioned, Paul.
And the players he's seen off. You know, David Silva, Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling.
Pep's managed
all
him
these
perfect.
attacking players.
Like he hasn't sent him out on loan. He's had him in a team with like David Silvas and your De Bruyne's, hasn't he? Where he'll be learning, like instead of sending him to the Championship to play every week, getting lumps kicked out of him. He's with David Silva on the training pitch and playing in games,
and he's eased
with
him
them
in,
sort of players.
Every year he's played a few more.
We always said we never replace company.
Yeah,
we never. You know, John Stones, Diaz. You know,
Fernandinho was the other one.
Yeah, Fernandinho. We never replace him. Do you know what I mean? David Silva, we never replaced him.
Sergio.
Look at the look. You know what I mean?
So Ricky, one final one. Just going back to you. You know, one of the great things about the film is kind of how emotional it is and how much it digs into your life. And how are you now? Is this the best you've felt for a long time? Because obviously had some dark times. Yeah,
I've never been better, to be honest with you. I mean, it goes without saying. You know, whatever you do in your life, Paul will agree. You know, we'd love to be able to turn the clock back. You know, playing in front of Main Road and lifting world titles, and you know, and there's only one Ricky Hatton again. And, you know, of course, you know, those are, they'll never be replaced. But I mean, in general, when you've had that and you come out the other end, when I was so down in such a bad place, didn't care whether I lived or died, to come out the other end, I'm not too bothered about that no more, to be honest. I'm happy to be here where I can see my son go professional, as I mentioned earlier, my granddaughter and stuff like that. I'm not bothered about that now. You know, where Ricky Hatton is trying to bring the next fighters through, seeing him turn into the man he's turning into, and hopefully keep rising up that, you know, boxing ladder, seeing my granddaughter, seeing me 2 girls, seeing City play like they're playing, and if I can do a little bit of help and bring a few champions through, and it sounds a little bit dramatised, but save someone's life by saying a few words about mental health and stuff like that. What's there to be miserable about today?
Amazing, mate. Amazing.
In that bowl are some questions left by previous guests. Do you want to pull one out of there? What's that one saying?
Well, I've got 2 here. Oh no, I haven't. Favourite comfort food or cheat meal? Favourite cheat meal.
So for you, it's basically when you've done your fight and you're allowed to live life fun again. What's the first thing you're going to go and eat?
Kebab at 4 in the morning, I think, with my belt round my waist.
Nice. Yeah. What about you, Ricky? What was yours?
I was on my deathbed and I had my last food, I would say fish and chips, and curry, chippy curry. Yeah. Load of grease.
Did you have one when you were playing?
I used to love a curry.
Did you?
Yeah, but there wasn't nutritional.
Speaking of Mary
people
D's,
keeping an eye.
that's some chippy next to Mary D's.
Peppercorn gravy.
It's huge down the road. Huge down the road.
It's well worth it.
Yeah,
it is.
So what's funny, right? Here's a little story for it now, a little exclusive. Me and my dad went out after my last fight to a boxing show, and City played the day after. So I've gone in the chippy, and I've lost my wallet while I've been out with my dad, and I've gone in the chippy and they went, "Campbell, we've got your wallet." How does that even happen? They turned around and he had the wallet. Money weren't in there, which I thought was, but yeah, just wandered in there, got some chips, and they gave me my wallet back.
Fantastic. So not only knocking out amazing food, they're good, honest people.
He wasn't buying the chips. He don't buy anything.
No, didn't
have my wallet.
That old chestnut, yeah.
Have you got something that you would ask?
Yeah. Could be anything.
I'll go with a serious one then, shall I? What is your highlight in a City shirt?
Perfect. Yeah, that'll do us. Make a note of that.
Yeah.
So one question that we do ask all of our guests is, if we gave you a magic wand, you can change anything about football, what would it be?
I think you got to say VAR at the minute, to be honest with you. I don't know anyone who likes it, you know what I mean? I don't know an abundance of football managers as such, but I mean everyone who's a football fan or follows it, whether you're City, whether you're United or whoever, no one is a fan, and it ruins so many great goals. How many times have you seen, goal of the season, that, whoa, we've seen that? No, his fingernail was was offside. It's like pathetic, do you know what I mean? It's ruining the game, and it ruins the flow of the game sometimes, isn't it? One end to end, this, innit? What a great game, end to end. Oh, hang on, let's stop for 5 minutes and see, you know, I think it's bobbins.
It gave you something to talk about after the game as well,
absolutely,
didn't
it did, yeah.
You know, I love watching the EFL, the Championship, League 1, League 2, because there's no VAR. Nobody's complaining, nobody's moaning about it. They've got to take what the referee's decision is and do it.
Do you think it's here to stay?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Because I don't know any, you know, I don't know an abundance of, you know, managers or anything like that, but everyone I speak to, you know, City fans, United fans, you know, whoever, no one's a fan of it.
No. I think it could be so easy for them to get it right. It should be so easy for them to get it right, but it just gets worse week after week.
Like that when it goes in, is that a go? You know,
do you think it's taken away from, obviously when you're in the ground celebrating? Do you worry celebrating sometimes because it's like this could be ruled out? Do you think it's taken something away from that lived live experience?
Yeah, it does definitely, because you're only half celebrating, aren't you? Because you're worried they're going to stop it, and I think like sometimes you like adds a bit of excitement, doesn't it, Joe, if you get away with something, or there's a little, like say, there's something to talk about after, and you're losing that, and you sat waiting. Sometimes you can be waiting for 2 minutes while they're going checking
10-minute
it.
injury time now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you know.
Like say that QPR game probably wouldn't have had that, because say they'd have stopped to check something after the first goal. It's like that pressure that we was building up, and the ground and all the atmosphere, that played a big part of it. But if you're stopping for 2 minutes while they have a look at something,
then you lose that.
And then the
momentum.
atmosphere goes dead while you're waiting. You lose that momentum and things, don't you?
Point that.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, for me, every time I'm at the stadium or at a game and somebody scores, I look at the referee to see if he's going to start. That's the first thing I do now, is look at the referee to see if somebody's
And
telling them to have a look at it.
You know, when it's offside, they wait for the ball to stop
Oh,
before they put the
sorry,
flag up. What is that all about?
Yeah, well, for 2 injuries this season, it was
Incredible, isn't it?
and John Stones.
That's got to be the most incredible rule I've ever seen. And then when the whistle goes offside, sure you do
Call
it
it at the time.
But players, managers, coaches, fans,
It adds to the fun, doesn't it, when someone's through. You look to the linesman to see if he's on, and it's like, it's part of all the excitement, but you can look, the flag's still down, but it still might be given offside. Like, you don't have a clue, do you?
That's a scratcher, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us
Really
again.
enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
No, enjoying it.
Good luck to you, by the way, as
Well,
well.
nice one.
Yeah.
All the very best.
Cheers, guys. Paul, that was pretty special from my perspective, and was so used to having people who've worked in football on this podcast to get two boxers give me a completely different perspective, different conversation. I really enjoyed it. What's your immediate reaction to it?
Yeah, they were both as amazing as I thought they would be. Massive chemistry between father and son, you know, that they're actually like mates, but people might be surprised how honest Ricky was with some of his answers, but that's the Ricky Hatton I knew I was going to get.
There's absolutely no airs and graces there. I mean, that's the first time I've had the pleasure of being in the same room as him and talking to him. And the honesty did, you know, sort of take you by surprise a little bit. And the stuff where we dig deep into the mental health struggles that he's had and his sort of like campaign, if you like, that he's on now, I felt that was really, really poignant, actually.
Yeah, it was, and you know, I'm just so delighted and super happy. And you know, when I heard him saying he's in an unbelievably good place with himself. You know, he's not just got Campbell there as a boxer and his son. You know, they're mates. He's got his two daughters who he absolutely adores and loves. He's got his granddaughter who he just can't spend enough time with. And I thought the rapport between them, but the respect and how proud they were of each other just came through so well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great way to end the podcast on such a positive note. But like you say, that respect between the two of them, you can see how proud Ricky is of what Campbell's doing, but also Campbell he's obviously studied and knows his dad's career, and he's really proud to be the son of Ricky Hatton, which is just really nice.
Yeah, it is. And then the other thing is like they're mad Man City fans. The amount of times Ricky kept relating back to the Main Road days when he was a fan, when he was going, and Campbell talking about going to away games now, European away games, and you know, they love their boxing, but they love Man City as well.
Fantastic. Well, that's another amazing episode of the official Man City podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you do your podcast listening. And once again, I want to remind fans, if you want to hear from somebody in particular, if there's a former player, a former manager, a famous fan, somebody of interest who you want to have here in this chair on the Man City podcast, please do get in touch and let us know. Until next time, take care of one another and join us again soon.
The unbeatable official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.